Chair Hernandez,
Yes.
Representative Mendoza mentioned Democrats delivering for now state on policy. How do you translate that into votes?
I have experienced that there is a lot more engagement because of this particular ticket. And so, with the policies that are going on, and just there seems to be this sort of, I'll say yes, it's energy, but it offers to folks to get, it's almost like it's okay. Get involved, and yes, engage in the policies. It's there is sort of this want to be a part of something now, and that is including the policies. It's an open door, and so what I'm getting back, the feedback I am getting back, especially with chairs in the southern areas, is because they're communicating. And there is just a real rise on engagement and people wanting to be part of something that they feel is good. So,
When you look at what's happening tonight and you think back to 2 months ago with the debate, did you ever think that we would be getting this moment, Kamala Harris accepting the nomination?
I'll speak for myself, but, at the moment that President Biden stepped down, there was sort of a pause. You took a pause. It's like, okay, what just happened? And wow, it was just a sudden surge of, I guess, reality came into the moment that he really took that step, and it offered again a moment for voters to engage. It's just that's the feel, that's the experience. So, I hope that answers.
We heard a lot this morning about other states, Wisconsin and Kentucky. Illinois is not really in play. Will the state party be sending resources to other states?
It's already happening. We have such a huge volunteer base that is growing, and there are folks that are volunteering even to work, in offering their time to those states. So it's already actually happening. In operation, I would say not at the moment, that we are working with them. But there is already volunteerism going and happening.
Door knockers, neighborhood walkers.
Yeah, so right now what we have set out is our coordinated campaign. This is Organizing Illinois. We kicked it off a couple of weeks back. And so right now we do have the team set up. There are the tables, what we call tables of stakeholders coming together and planning out the certain regional areas how we're going to deliver for the campaign.
What kinds of concerns are there about the possibility that our nation is going to drop out and Trump might back Trump? Is there any concern about how it might impact
Not that I know of. Look, what I'll say to that is I can speak for myself. We're hearing them loud and clear. And that is very important for the party to be doing, is make sure that anyone who is concerned or wants to voice gets heard. That's the way I see it.
Does that mean they should have a Palestinian American speak? There's some people who've been sitting outside the United Center since last night making that debate.
That's out of my control on the setup. But once again, I always feel if you need to voice, you need to be heard. And I mean, that's a fundamental right there.
Are you concerned that the war in Gaza could cost Democrats some votes that they might need down the ballot here in Illinois?
You always hope not. But I always am praying and hoping that we come to a sort of peace agreement. If anything, that's my desire.
What are you hoping to hear tonight from Kamala Harris in her speech?
I'm sorry.
What are you hoping to hear tonight from Kamala Harris?
Oh, gosh, she's going to fire us up. She is going to assure us. And I think that's what it is, that she has got to the heart and soul of people. And she's going to do it tonight again. Like, she is going to hit it. That's it.
Yeah.
She's going to be joyous. What's your question?
What does the party have in place to ensure that
We have a plan. That's what's being rolled out with this coordinated campaign. So as we speak, although we are involved and we've kicked off the convention, boots are on the ground right now. We're the other operator. You saw the team. This is what I wanted to reveal. This is why there is now an operation running in the Democratic Party of Illinois. So as we speak, that plan is being rolled out. Of course. I think I'll have experience, that's for sure.
you're talking about voter outreach? What about like election judges, especially in some of those downstate areas? Is that something?
That's also included in the plan. So, I mean, we are really making a conscious effort. We really try to think of everything imaginable that would prepare us and be ready. And frankly, it's 2 years in, and I'm speaking truthfully. Immediately, I saw the lack of presence from the party, especially downstate, and just the need for resources. So we're on it. We're on it. Okay. Training, in particular, training. There's okay. So we have training, and then the kind of resource. There's monetary as well. So training is one. The funding necessary, and we what's the word? Staffing, that sort of thing. So county chairs, we're just working really closely with them.
How do you stay focused here in Illinois on down ballot races when the energy volunteers, staff may be more enthusiastic about phone banking in Wisconsin or Michigan or even going out there to door knock?
So Nikki Baczynski even talked about it a little bit early about the plan, the postcard. And I'll tell you what is happening and how we're going to go about it may be a little bit different in the southern part of Illinois than we do it in the northern. That's why the setup of these regional tables that we put in place is going to make the difference. So what we're doing, the postcards in southern Illinois we might be doing things a little bit differently in the northern end.
Comptroller, you're the largest vote getter statewide.
Yeah.
Thoughts on how to attract undecided, those who haven't made up their mind?
Yeah, so I would add to the list of things that Lisa mentioned that surrogates. I mean, there's a whole lot of us that are going to be going into these 102 counties in Illinois. Some of us will even potentially be traveling to swing states to try to help in that effort, right? But from my perspective, we need to be present. You talk about my being the highest vote getter in Illinois. It's because not only did I get Democratic votes, but I also had independents come my way, like purposely look for me on the ballot. I would argue probably people from the Republican Party as well. So when we talk about common sense issues and we treat people just as people and not ask them, where they're at politically, like the goal is to make a connection. And that's why this surrogacy program is so important for us to go into the communities. I never ask people if they're Democrats or Republicans. I just ask them what's going on in their lives and what are their issues, what are their problems. And if we can figure out how to connect with that, then you've made that connection. And I think that's a winning recipe for success. Yes.
What I think is if they have something to say, be heard. That's my thinking. So they should, if they want, they have to. If they have something to say, we should hear him. That's on the stage. I have no control of that. I don't have any say on that. But I'm one who thinks that they like anyone else, it's a fundamental right, should be heard.
Comptroller and Burnett, you will tell me what you think you're expecting to hear tonight from Kamala Harris's speech. What do you want to hear? What
So, Alderman Walter Burnett, Vice Mayor of the City of Chicago. So I'm expecting to hear a unity speech. I'm expecting to hear that we cannot afford to allow for our democracy to be taken away from us, that we need to make sure that Donald, I don't even want to say his name, but the orange-haired guy or whatever color his hair is, that guy don't get back in, that we cannot have this divisiveness in our country, that we need to bring this country together and continue to be sensitive to all of the needs of everybody in our society.
Alderman, is this convention going really well so far? Is this the sort of thing that can change
I'll hit it after.
Chicago's reputation?
This convention is going very well, and we want to knock on wood. Everyone has done a great job. Our chairman of the state party has done a great job. The governor, the mayor, everyone pitched in, and we're so proud. And coincidentally, I was in the mayor's box last night, and every mayor that came up there was raving about how great a job we've done. And matter of fact, some mayors even came up and asked us, could we come to their town and help them to knock on doors, right? And far south as Georgia. Right, so everyone wants help, asking for help, want to do a good job. Everyone wants this party to win. Everyone wants Kamala Harris and Tim to be the next vice president and president of the United States of America.
What about Chicago, though, like proper, the city? Is this the sort of, Chicago sometimes has this reputation as violence. Is this convention going, do you think, change Chicago's reputation on the national stage?
So nationally, we're about even with everyone else. Only here that, some of you all say that we like real bad and everything. But when I go to these mayors' conference for the mayor across the city, we all have the same thing in common. So it's not that challenging as everyone says in the media. We all have the same challenges all over the country. And I think we're handling it just as good as anybody else.
Can I answer that, Amanda? And then I'll answer your question, too. It would help if we actually had a former president of the United States who didn't trash our city every opportunity that he has. And his little minion, J.D. Vance, who also is just throwing stuff out there, trying to tarnish the image of the greatest and most beautiful city in America. So we know who we are, and we stop that kind of nonsensical talk. It's just straight up BS by putting them down permanently, right? Like they don't need to ever have a pulpit where they are talking to the American people and spewing their hate. We do that by beating them at the ballot box, by delivering the loudest message the American people can deliver to them, which is shut up and sit down. Okay, and then for you, I would love to see Kamala Harris today, and I do expect her, as Alderman Burnett said, to have a very unifying speech, but to lay out the vision of the Democratic Party and why our party is the party that looks out for the working class, why our party is, in fact, the party of joy. And we don't even have to say that because anyone with eyeballs and ears who has been following this convention can see the difference between what you see in that convention hall and what you saw in Milwaukee. One is depressing, dark, divisive, and one is joyful. Oh, yeah, by the way, super homogenous on the other side. And this side is joyful. It's proud. It's energetic and electric. And more importantly, we're talking about policies that impact the American people and will make their lives better, whether it's better education, investing in our kids, whether it's making sure that our kids who go to college aren't indebted for the rest of their lives, whether it's having not just access, but affordable health care that will keep people alive longer, healthy, productive. Access to IVF treatments, as we heard yesterday, and access to reproductive health care freedoms. Freedom was the key word I felt last night that I walked away with. Freedom to do things, not freedom from things. Freedom to do things, and that's what we're going to hear tonight.
We haven't seen the oncoming migrants from the southern border as the Republicans had promised.
Yeah. You know why? Because when the Republicans went ahead and did Donald Trump's bidding of killing that border bill, right, the border management bill, Joe Biden took action. And he said, fine, we're supposed to respect the process. They're always saying we have to respect the process. The president doesn't have the power to do it. And then when they disrespected the process by doing Donald Trump's bidding and killing that border protection bill, then Joe Biden took them up on their offer that he had the power to do it, so he did it. And as a result of that, we've seen a dramatic influx of migrants coming in. So short of them going to knock on doors and find migrants and then bus them over here, their threat, fell on deaf ears here.
What do you say to those who are still frustrated by the tax dollars that are going to the migrants, and they say it's overshadowing what their needs are?
Yeah, I would say vote Democrat. Vote Democrat, because we're taking care of business. I mean, it wasn't the Republicans who delivered the less influx of migrants coming in. That was Joe Biden. And if we win control, here's the thing, too, that I've said this many times as controller. I'm not happy about spending a ton of money on a migrant issue that I believe is a responsibility of the federal government to pay for. Right? So if they're going to allow people into this country, which we welcome that and they welcome them, then help the states that they're sending them to be able to afford that care. We want to provide responsible, really conscientious, humane care to our immigrants or refugees that are coming in. But it's also unfair to just saddle the states with those debts. The reason why they can't just give immediate permits to everybody, which is the obvious thing to do here, if you're going to allow them to come in, you process them, you give them a worker's permit and let them earn and provide money to the tax base instead of taking from it. The reason we can't do that is because it has to be passed congressionally. This is why we have to elect Democrats, because we know what the solution is. We just need the power in both chambers and the presidency to get it done. So you want to fix this issue? Vote Democrat.
This is going to be a very close election. All the polls show it's extremely close. The reproductive rights message that has been coming out of this convention helps you in states where it's already accepted, like Illinois. Does it help you or hurt you in...
Oh my gosh, it's going to help us everywhere. You're seeing it in Ohio. You'll see it in Wisconsin and Kentucky and Michigan. This is an issue that transcends party. And the Republicans made a huge mistake when they took down Roe v. Wade, because all of a sudden they woke up a sleeping giant, which actually, believe it or not, are Republican women or independent women who always assumed that even though we don't talk about this out loud, boy, are we thankful that we can make our own decisions about our own bodies. So now they can't. Now they can't. And now they can't even start their own families. So the party who said you have to have that baby is now denying women who actually want to have a baby but can't have a baby the ability to have a planned pregnancy. Think about how that does not make sense. Try to make it make sense. It can't. But that is what is at stake right now. Women being able to start a family with their spouses or even by themselves if they have the ability to do so. They can't do it under this their administration, I should say, but they will be able to do those things under a Democratic administration. This was a mistake on their part. We'd like to thank them for it because we're going to take care of business once we recapture that White House. With Kamala.
Thank you. I think.
In terms of the fundraising, well, you see, there's just millions and millions and hundreds of millions of dollars that Kamala raised within a day, right, of announcing the candidacy. The excitement is real. The money is going to be there. Donald Trump has done a really good job of raising a lot of money for all his felony convictions and likely will once again, scam the very people whose money he's taking. He's like a really, really, really bad con artist, as we know. He's actually very good at being a con artist, but even though they may have more money, he's probably going to end up using it on additional lawyer fees, whereas our money is going to go to help Kamala Harris get elected, and we don't need it in $100 million increments, but in the people of the power at $5 a pop.